I really can't use this. And, you know, he really was completely rough with the way he talked. You know how Germans are. They tell you in your face that, you know, what you got is bullshit. You know, it's like completely useless stuff. And so, you know, most of my team that went there, my sales VP and my sales directors and application engineers, you know, they all got disheartened. You know, they said, oh my God, you know, he's calling our product, you know, useless, piece of junk. On the other hand, you know, I looked at it as an entrepreneur and said, you know, there's nobody in my company that knows that I've got only 5% of the total solution. And nobody knows how to build the remaining 95% because they don't even understand what the customer needs. And, you know, so I basically, you know, built a personal relationship with this German guy. And, you know, said, look, I know we don't have a full solution, I agree, but can you tell me like what I need to do? And, you know, can you give me some documents or specifications or whatever? Just give it to me and I'll do my best to, you know, meet those specifications. And, you know, there are a lot of people entrepreneurs who go in and say these things to, you know, customers. Give me a spec, give me this, give me that. I mean, as an entrepreneur, that's what you do, right? And 99% of entrepreneurs don't execute on that. They just take the spec and then nothing happens. The product doesn't change, the spec doesn't change. So, you know, what I did was I took the spec from the customer and sent an email to the customer and I said, in 3 months, I'll have all of these things done. And I got my team refocused on developing that spec. And 3 months later, or even a little bit earlier than that, I called up the customer and said, look, you asked me to, you know, you send me all these specs, and I told you that I'll get this much done, and can I show you what I've got done? Just, you know, since virtually nobody does this follow-up, basically, you know, he gave me time to come back, even though he knew that he was doubtful. So he just wanted to see what kind of company is this that actually does what it says. And so I went back and, you know, he suddenly felt that, you know, here is a customer, a vendor that is willing to learn from him. And so once he heard that, you know, and saw what we had done, you know, we had just taken the product from 5% complete to maybe 20% complete. You know, he said, look, it's still no good because, you know, I need to have all of this other stuff done. So I said, okay, I went back and I sent him another email and I said, in 3 more months I'll get this much done. And I beat his expectations at that. He said, I still cannot give you the business and you know, this stuff done. So it took me about 18 months and then I had everything done. And then, but by that time, like, you know, he had already chosen my competitor's product and, you know, started using that product. But he was not happy with the competitor's product, but it was better than my product. So I said, you know, do you mind, you know, telling me what the customer's product's problems are, what the competitor's product's problems are? And then, you know, I'm going to try and give you a product that's better than that. So, in general, why would he give me that information? But, you know, he told his application engineer, because they all signed confidentiality agreements with the competition. So, he said, look, I cannot give you any information of your competition, but I will let my application engineer explain to you, you know, how the product works and you can look at it and so on. And so you just sit and look at it. there with my application engineers and my design engineers. We sat down, saw everything that the competition was doing, things that they were doing better than us, things that they were doing worse than us, and made a list of everything. Right? And we could also see what fundamental mistakes the competitor had in their product. And so we made a list of 8 or 9 reasons why competitors' products. These are all subtle reasons. You can only get it if somebody tells you after using it. A big company tells you as to what the problems are. So we went and we got Calico's, all the problems that Calico had, listed it all down, listed all the positive features and everything. And for 6 months, we worked on polishing up our product, getting it. So 6 months, so that's exactly 2 years after we first found this German CIO, and he was an old guy, 60, 65-year-old guy. And 2 years later, I had a world-class product, that was better than the competition's product, and something that I knew could now beat the competition, and it was perfect. And so after that, whenever we would go into any other customers, I went to GE, Medical Systems, I went to Cisco, I went to all these different other companies, and we would have a competitive fly-off, and we would have prototype names and give demonstrations and presentation of the product. Essentially, we had a perfect product compared to the competition. And we knew all the problems of the competition. So not only we would show the customer why we can solve the problem better than him, we could also tell the customer that these are the 10 problems that the competition has got. So the competitor is not going to tell you what his problems are, but we will tell you what the problems are. And so it would have taken the competition about 6 months to a year to fix those problems. Right? So based on that, where my competitor was, had already gone public, they raised $100 million, the market capitalization was $1 billion, we were just a $10 million funded company, Selectica. We started beating this big company in deal after deal after deal. And then I got all my salespeople lined up, and I stood in a sales meeting and said, look, we've beaten Calico at GE Medical. We beat Calico at this company and this company. And we won because of these 9 reasons. And I'm giving you the 9 reasons why we won. So if any of you guys lose to a Calico salesman, you're fired. Because you said the product is good, everything works, but you've not a good job of selling the product. Right? And after that day, I did not lose a single deal with Calico. And you won't believe it, in 2 years, here's a company that had $100 billion in the bank, a public company with $1 billion valuation, was kind of the market leader. They went bankrupt. And we went public for a $5 billion valuation. We became the leader in that. But see, what I did was, I found what they say in this book called the Earlyvangelists. I found that guy. They're not everywhere saying I'm the Earlyvangelist. They're not going to be there telling you that. But you,
there are disadvantages to going with one big customer, especially when one of the profile of the was they had exactly, they had actually joined this company. And towards the close of that project, that company was bought by GE. Of course, GE didn't cover any of the other requirements. And they, after working for 3 years as a startup, now had a product
one specific industry or one specific customer's needs and so on. So as an entrepreneur, you have to, if you're building a product company, not a custom services company, you have to be looking at how to solve the generic problem. The problem based on customer creation. We talked about 4 steps of customer discovery. The third step is customer creation, which is taking the customer discovery, customer validation, and extrapolating it to a market segment. Right? So it's your job to see that the product does not become a custom product. Because custom products, as Kevin said, are very dangerous. Because what if Siemens never buys the product? And believe it or not, Siemens never bought a product. For many other reasons, and it's a long story. But because of Siemens CIO, I ended up with a product which was a product that addressed all high-end configuration, which could be applied to G Medical, Cisco. Cisco was doing routers. G Medical was doing MRI systems. Dell was doing servers. IBM was doing mainframes. Hitachi was doing mainframes. Aetna was doing insurance. So I ended up with a solution which would address the whole market for complex configuration, high-end complex configuration, and it was a full-fledged solution. So basically, I found the early evangelists who would show me how to build a product that I can basically address the whole market. And he did not use my product, but I became actually the world leader in configuration. Right? So basically, the entrepreneur's job is to see that his team is not building custom solutions, but is, so VP of engineering becomes very critical. And the CTO, the chief technology officer, become very critical that whenever they don't go in and put specific parameters inside the software, they become just a custom product. Essentially, you want to create a platform or a generic product that addresses many different markets, or that can be easily customized to whatever cloud technology. Anyway, so basically, what you see here is the early evangelist. So my Siemens customer was this early evangelist. So he's early, ahead of the market in terms of his needs, and he has a problem. He's aware of the problem that he's solving, because he had to know what he's solving. He's actively looking for a solution. That's why he brought me here. That's why he continued to work with me. Every 3 months I would go and show how far we have reached, how far we have reached, how far we have reached. He's assembled a solution from either custom plus a little bit from Calico, whatever, and he has the money to spend. Right? He's no point finding a customer who doesn't have money to spend. Right? So basically, early evangelist is the guy that you want to look for, and they're not everywhere, but they're there. And even they will keep changing, because early evangelist will be good till a certain point in time. Then you're going to find the next guy who will help to take your product to the next level. So basically, these are the kind of characteristics of the early evangelist that I kind of showed through how I would. So once the guy has come up with a product, if I told you what you're supposed to be, the early evangelist or the early customer, your job is to build a minimum viable product. Okay? And maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, Dipti's and Akshay's team, and you guys should give a little demo of your MVP. So basically, you want to start building, which is something that's called the minimum viable product, which is a product that you can at least demo to customers, you can at least, or potential customers, so that you get real hands-on feedback of what the product is, right? So that's your minimum viable product. And then you start basically building up your canvas model, your business model canvas, and you start going back and forth with your thinking and saying, hey, when I started off, is it right, wrong, all that stuff, right? Because basically, like, since I started working with the Siemens guy, CIO, I was pivoting all the time my business model. Because, it started off building a product that serves in the market. But then that we found was only targeting 5% of the complex configuration market that had money to spend. And I made the engineers go for 2 years to put in additional 95% more functionality. So I pivoted the product from where it was originally going to sell for $25,000 or 100,000 license fees to where it was selling for $1 million to $10 million license fee. And I added all this additional functionality to the product. And that's how I ended up with